11 to, or plus 10 to linguistics. Rolls a 4.
And we're back. So.
What's... Oh, I am taking that feat, by the way, Steve, just so you know.
Okay. The next morning, Gulran, you had a sermon that you were planning.
Yeah, so the day before when I was there, when I was helping people, I would have spread the word that, like, come back tomorrow, and I assume I got permission to do such a
absolutely.
thing. So yeah, I would just, like, tell everyone to come back tomorrow, tell your friends who are concerned about this outbreak of fate madness, come to the sermon tomorrow kind of thing. I'd be spreading that around while I'd be, like, blessing and helping people.
Okay. You will absolutely get a turnout for the sermon. Do you have something written out, or do you just have... Okay. Well then, let's wait for the music to fade, and... Why don't you... Go ahead and say what you're going to say, though.
So first I want to make sure I have, like, the room's attention, which, if I don't know if I do a perception check, or just make sure everyone's, like, looking and paying attention.
Yeah, everyone is paying attention.
I cast Enthrall, and I begin my... one round of speaking to enthrall the crowd with Gulran's sermon. So he clears his throat, and he says, freedom of thought and self are important to remember during this trying time. All should be free to do as they please, so long as they do not deter from the freedom of others. Information and ideas are meant to be shared, especially if you have concerns for your safety during this trying time. Above all else, we must value fact over fiction and avoid causing a panic as a result of children bedtime stories. Through our cooperation and communal thought sharing, we can all accomplish greater tasks than we ever could if we kept these thoughts to ourselves, causing individual panic and worry. So come, everyone, confess your worries to our priests here. Let us hear your worries so that you may leave here and head home tonight with clear thoughts and no worries of fake and not serious threats to your safety. And Gulran would also like to cast Calm Emotions after that.
Okay.
On the group that is closest to me, I guess.
You will help bring a lot of people to a much greater feeling of ease. You can hear a number of people in the crowd start discussing with each other. Yeah, this is all nothing but like children's stories. I don't know why we're listening to a bunch of kids. Just, I think times are tough right now. Perhaps it is... things could be better. And a number of people will like start coming up to the stage and thanking you for like talking with them and thanking you for helping them feel more at ease and bring them this understanding.
Anyone who like because just like my end of my speech there, I was like, oh, like confess your worries and stuff. Anyone who professes that they're still worried after this, I will again drain my spell points, casting protections from evil, blesses, and stuff like that.
Okay. There are very few people where you're going to have that. I mean, this spell has a pretty profound effect over on people that are below 4 hit dice. Most of the people that are having these kinds of nervous issues are, much more susceptible to this kind of like fear mongering and suspicion. And so your words will bring them very easy calm. Yeah.
As everyone's like leaving as well, I would just say, this is not to say that we should not still remember. Shashat is for the sharing of ideas and thoughts.
Damn.
Do
you have cocaine that you gave her?
Still have any worries at all? We must share these and not keep it.
I'm very excited.
So if you do see something actually suspicious, you should still report it. But just keep in mind not to think of every little thing as a panic-inducing state. The ministry is on the case and keeping you all safe. Especially Shashat will be watching over you all if you adhere to these principles I have spoken about.
They applaud. Thank you. Thank you. If things seem different, we will speak. We won't keep it a secret. We will keep the code of Shashat. We will share what needs to be shared. But I think we all just got a little too worked up. A little too afraid in this troubling time. Thank you.
People fear what they do not understand. Hopefully now you've all left here with more understanding by sharing our knowledge and me sharing my wisdom with you all.
Yeah, and you will basically clear out the church in a positive way. A lot of people are a lot less afraid of this. You'll have Moirin come over to you. That was well executed.
Yes, over the previous night I had communed with my knowledge with Shashat, and I felt the words just come from her stories and her tales of how she created her followers, basically. It just seemed to make sense to what was going on now.
This will allow us to get back to focusing on what's important, instead of trying to fight an enemy that we have no understanding of or may not even exist to begin with.
Yes, I will still bring this matter to the ministry and see if there's anything to follow up on, but there's no use creating a panic over something that isn't proven yet anyway.
Thank you, Gulrun. You've proven quite helpful to us.
Thank you, Sir McNeil.
Is there anything that the rest of you specifically want to do over the next couple of days?
I think one of the things, aside from, I think Brianna would like to probably have brunch with everybody just to sort of talk and compare notes and see how people are doing.
Okay.
So I probably would have sent like a little message or something to everybody, be like, brunch?
Yeah. So you can have had a messenger send something out. You can do that as a member of the ministry without having to pay any fees. If the people you are sending the message to are also members of the ministry. And yeah, you guys can meet up if everybody is so inclined.
Sounds good.
All right. What is on the topic, or what is on the table for discussion at brunch?
So, Brianna started off. She has ordered everybody mimosas, and and so she's like, she's just like, I was just wanting to see how everybody was doing. We kind of had a rough night a couple nights ago, and just wanted to see how everybody's doing. How are you feeling, Antaeus?
I'm doing all right, I suppose. Furthered a little bit of study in some things that I've been attempting to work on, especially given the current circumstances and the current things we've learned about some of the going-ons, and the more supernatural things.
That was really kind of odd what happened at Nico's house, wasn't it?
Yes, it was quite peculiar. I thought he'd be a little more... Well, actually, I was not aware that he would be as unaware of the situation potentially around his daughter as he was.
He seemed really upset. Like, I was expecting him to be happy. Out of character, was Brianna aware that Antaeus had the money and was taking it back to him?
Nope, not at all.
So,
Well, to be fair, I hadn't really had a chance to talk to anybody outside of being in the jail, and I didn't want to.
Yeah, things kind of happened quickly.
Okay, so Brianna probably would have said then, I mean, I had no idea that they even found the money. She would just assume that maybe that they had found the money and Antaeus was on official business or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I had no idea that they even had found the money, and I would have expected him to be happy about it. What was that note that he was holding in his hand?
The note, I actually surprisingly was not able to tell what it was. I wasn't even able to tell it was a gnome, right? Or halfling.
Halfling, yeah, you were not. Well, no, you were able to tell that it was halfling, because you did succeed that check, you just couldn't read it.
I tried asking him about it, but he was very tight-lipped.
Yes, it's quite peculiar. Especially given everything else surrounding him. It is weird. I don't know. I have no idea what the note was about. I'm still surprised that he was not aware of his daughter. Like, when I mentioned it to him before you had arrived, he seemed like he had no idea that she was even sick.
Well, she certainly is. I was over there because I wanted to bring her a doll. I felt kind of bad. I don't know if you remember because you were unconscious, but, Ego said that, that she was sick and that she had Did Ego call it Fey Madness?
No, he just called it madness.
Okay.
So there is a difference. Some of you made the check. There is a difference between madness and Fey Madness. Madness, and Ghoulrun actually knows a little bit about the fact that madness is a regular thing and Fey Madness is something else entirely.
Okay, so then Brianna would just say madness. She would say, I could tell that there was definitely something off. She says that she has friends that talk to her, and she seemed to be asking nothing about, like what she should name the doll. Like, it's very concerning.
Hold the message spell. Why did you guys go see Nico all of a sudden?
I assume that she would not have been mentioning that had the friends been not those dolls. But to answer your question, Ghoulrun, I went to go see Nico to see if he had received the money that... What am I blanking on? Man,
The knights procured all the items. I couldn't tell if the money was amongst it. But I trust they returned all the objects where they were meant to go. Did he get his money back?
He did get his money back. They were not able to find it, but he did get his money back.
Wait, what? They weren't able to find it?
No, all of those things would have been hidden behind a lot of red tape, so to speak. And
what are you telling me now, Antaeus? Are you telling me you pocketed the money and gave it back to him in this night?
Where are we at? Are we in like a...
You guys are at a restaurant.
Is it... Okay, are there a lot of people around?
Oh yeah, I would have...
There's a reasonable number of people, but...
Okay.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Would Ghoulrun maybe get angry about this? Let's make a will check to see if he would...
Well...
Playing it like a cat, I gotta roll dice for everything, huh?
What's important is that he did receive the money that his daughter needed for the...
Antaeus, this is not how we do things.
Would you like to have seen his daughter fall ill to the madness?
No, we could have gotten her help. The knights would have returned his money in due time anyway. Why would
they
you
have? I don't believe that
would
they
assume
would have.
so. Why do you think this? We are working under the knights. They are not suspected of being evil.
That's not the case. I just think that it's more time efficient if they would have gotten it now so that he could...
Antaeus! No! We've been broken the rules enough as it is. Maha's gonna have my head if she finds out I was a part of this.
Finds out about what?
You're going to confess this to Maha on our debrief.
Confess what? I went there to check and see if that he was okay and make sure that he receives the money, and he did.
Brianna looks over at Elizabeth, and what does our leader say about all this?
Your leader is speaking, Brianna. And I'm confused now, Antaeus. It's almost like I have a lower than average intelligence, but
What I'm hearing is Antaeus made sure that he received his money, and he did receive his money. I don't want to know how he received his money, but I'm glad he received his money. Don't tell me how he received his money.
And anyway, I was over there to bring a doll to the little girl.
Yes,
So-
speaking of which... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just want to clarify, because we're going to have our debrief eventually.
But you're not the leader? Yeah, you're not.
Well, I was
Elizabeth,
told
I am the
by
leader, as
Nico
appointed by
to
Mom.
make sure to inform the people involved with the processing of it that he had received his money and that everything was fine on that front.
All right, because a moment ago it sounded like you were telling me you had the money and you were giving it to him. Something about behind red tape. Did I misunderstand?
No. Nico has the money now, and that's what's most important. 'Cause now he can get... Well, now he could theoretically get
Antaeus.
the...
You're giving me a lot of words that aren't answering my question.
He
You
has the money.
You let the knights do their job.
I
And
did.
they returned, yes, and they returned all of the items
They
there
did.
that night.
They returned... They collected all of the items.
All right. So you didn't do anything wrong then.
No, I did not take anything from them.
All right. I'll trust you.
I got there before they did, thank you.
Just so you're aware, you're still on the lawful line, but you're definitely careening towards neutrality here.
What are you talking about? I'm doing good, Steve. I'm playing a good
Chaotic
character.
good, it sounds like.
Good does
Anyway.
not equal law.
Yeah,
I think Goron's
They're
turning
not
to
always
lawful.
the same thing.
I think that the
Law
good
is
is more
always
important
good.
than
that's
the
fine.
law.
As long as both of you meet in the middle, perhaps this will work
Yeah.
out.
The good is more important than the law, but the law is important to follow. I did not take anything from them.
That definitely sounds
Antaeus,
like you.
I just want to make sure you're above board because
I don't know.
I
he's-
promised Maha I would be keeping us we're
Once
not
the
breaking and
knights arrived,
entering anymore.
once the
That's
night,
what I'm
I
trying to
did
say.
not touch anything. Once the
never
knights
broke
arrived
and
and declared that they were taking over from there, I did not touch anything once that happened.
All right, Antaeus, I'll believe you. You did offer that knowledge of that night that we had the go ahead to enter that place. You were very knowledgeable on the law,
Steve, they
so I'll
didn't.
trust you didn't violate the law.
They
if you
didn't
would
have
say so.
jurisdiction at that point because they had. Not
You're in a very, very, very gray area here because you legitimately took evidence, hid evidence, and then gave it to someone else.
It was not evidence.
Especially
yet,
after
because they had not
discovering
come-
the letter that was inside. That is like all of the attempting to put asterisks next to the object that you took.
To be fair, the letter I did not know about, but it wasn't evidence yet because they had not come in and procured it yet. Therefore, it wouldn't have been evidence.
Again, I stated gray. I meant gray. Okay? You don't have to try to figure out which one of the 50 this is, but it's definitely gray.
Some
So,
shade.
yeah, I think all this fast talk and weird answers confused Goron. He's just content with believing him at his word at this point. Not going to push it any further.
Alright.
Yes.
So, anyway, what have you all been up to?
Maha invited me to dinner with her and her wife.
Oh, what?
Ooh, speaking of, something else that has been, that you will have gotten, is you will have gotten your letter of acceptance as
Lord.
a knight. You have there's a sort of coronation ceremony that will occur, which is happening during a big, there's a big sort of gala that is happening. Hold on, let me find the details here.
While you were out,
I did not name it. Carry on. But there is a big gala that is happening in the next few days, where they will be coronating new knights, sort of like graduating members of the ministry, welcoming new people into the church, as well as introducing new people who are going to raise up in the ranks of the military, the country's military. Carry on. Sorry. But you've been invited to attend that, and by proxy, the rest of your companions are invited as well.
Yeah, and I'm being coronated as a knight, and I guess you guys can come if you want.
Congratulations, Elizabeth. When did you find out?
This morning, actually.
We should buy a round of drinks, as Gluron pats his pockets with 0.
I think
Hey, it's your
Brianna
full-
already...
You got some money, right?
I don't need more.
Me? I don't have much money. I have a little bit of money, but
We'll order a round of something to celebrate. This is great news. But in future, we should avoid going back to past people in cases without my permission, and especially before our debrief with Maha. Is that clear?
I mean,
just to clarify, to make sure that we're all on the same page, is Gul'ran the leader of this party?
Yes, I am.
No
don't
one's
think
the leader
we
of
really-
this party.
yeah, I was gonna say I don't think we really.
I am the leader. That's all.
No,
you
you're
need to
not,
know.
Gluron. Stop pretending.
I am not
The leader that
pretending.
would say, I am the leader is no leader.
Oh, Brianna, I didn't know you were a POTA all of a sudden. Maha clearly gave me the dossier of the last case. She gave it to me out of everyone. She's recognized as
Didn't she
my
also
leadership.
give Elizabeth the dossier the time before that?
There's something called shared leadership and knowing when to rely on others and delegating tasks. Brianna, it's all complicated. I can't go into it now. But is it understood whether or not it's coming from me? We should all agree on this, yes?
Agree on what?
You don't need to preach on me. What?
You missed my sermon. It was beautiful.
Sermon.
I'm talking about we should all agree not to follow up with people in our cases until we've debriefed with Maha.
I mean,
I think it was
guess
inappropriate
technically-
for you both to go there before we knew the resolution of what Maha wanted. Maybe we were supposed to bring him something. Maybe we were supposed to do something.
Does that mean you are coming to see my coronation?
Yes.
I mean, if you want me to, yes, of course.
I literally just invited you, but whatever, leader, do what you want.
Yes, I'm not talking about that. I was talking about you're all.
I mean,
trying-
you change subjects so fast sometimes, dude. I don't know where your brain is going with this stuff.
I know it's hard to keep up with the dwarven mind.
I agree. It is hard to keep up with the dwarven mind.
Yes, we
Also,
can agree on that.
I just want to say it's not inappropriate to show some compassion. And I wasn't there in the official capacity. I was there to see the little girl because she's obviously sick.
I know, Brianna, I know. But if, let's say, some goblins saw this and reported it, it's a conflict of interest, I think. It doesn't bode well if
Look,
people see
Nothing
us.
to Brianna.
Does it not
If
also
Maha
strike
got
you
word
as
that you were speaking with people before our debrief, I just do not think it would be a good thing.
does it also not strike you as a conflict of interest to have such a predisposition against goblins?
Muffin?
Goblins are of a nefarious nature.
I'm not really worried about the goblins because I know their hookup for their substances they like, and I tell them I put a good word in with the mountain.
And I have a new way to test whether or not we can get this information from them as well.
You're all very confusing. I don't understand these lingos.
I've
Maybe
learned
I'm
some
getting
new
too old.
things.
I don't know what this
Brianna!
mountain is.
Don't give them false hope.
But anyways, we need to be clear when we're... never mind. I'm going to speak to Maha when we debrief and let her know about this. And we'll hear it from her, but...
Oh,
Just so
I
you know-
kind of already did that, by the way.
What?
Are we not supposed to speak to
We were-
superiors as well before talking to you?
Yes,
Is
you
that-
are all doing this all wrong. We need to...
I went
Do
to go
these-
see Taron. Was that?
Baha asked me, okay?
You went to see Taron again? Oh my god. I need to be reassigned. I just sit back and sip on my mimosa. I'm just kind of like, I have a look of like, I'm done with this right now. Everyone's just breaking all the rules. We're on camp right now. You can't eat
What was
right
your
now.
sermon about?
Guron casts calm emotions on himself. I don't know if I can do that. He's about to break a table.
It is creatures in a 20-foot radius spread, so...
All right, yeah, I'm gonna say, listen, let's all calm ourselves. I'm gonna cast a calming mantra from Shashat. Let's all hold hands and give praise to Shashat for this meal, shall we?
But out of character, didn't you use up all your spell points?
That was the
Yesterday.
previous day.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll just reach out my hands.
On Brianna's on plate.
I'll reach out my
Yeah,
hands.
you're pushing food onto Brianna's plate.
I've passed a muffin towards her, and now I've put a piece of bacon on her plate.
I don't know where I'm sitting. I illustrated both hands to whoever on each side of me to like hold
Okay.
hands.
I will wait to see if other people reach out their hands and follow suit.
Brianna's looking down at her plate, and she just kind of like holds out her hands. Okay, sure, whatever. She's just kind of like,
Let us give thanks. Join hands in the name of Shashat.
Before I take Brianna's hand, I'm gonna stick the piece of bacon in her mouth and then grab her hand.
Well, if everyone's hands are joined.
Well, if we're doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use... where's the thing that I'm looking for? Use this for a palm reading.
So somebody holds out their hand to you. We'll say Ghoulron holds out his hand to you.
Ghoulron's on one side, and I'm on the other, so who palms are you trying to read?
Once per day, you can predict a creature's fortune for the near future. You spend it's 10 minutes. Interpreting the divination
clicker.
means at your disposal.
We're like, okay, it's you're like, no, not yet. We have longer.
Determining the intermediate future as an augury spell is a chance of successful interpreting the meanings of it.
Okay. So you see that Ghoulron is in line for better things today.
Oh, wonderful, Ghoulron. You are in line for much better things to come today.
I don't know how you know this, but
Take
my hand,
here.
damn it.
Let me show you. It's because of these lines, the different lines.
Mateus, not now, please. I'm trying to bless us with Shashat's blessing and calm ourselves in this time of frustration.
On her. I'd rather have Honor's blessing.
Honor is Shashat's husband, right?
No.
Oh. Father.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yes. Anhur is Sashat's husband. Whoops.
I forgot about that.
New husband after divorce,
Yes.
correct?
Thoth was her first husband.
So let us join hands as Shashat and Anhur
Makes
would.
so much sense.
All right,
Elizabeth?
fine.
Certainly.
Let's calm our emotions.
All right, I need a will
And give
save from the
thanks.
party,
They're not resisting.
including
They're not
Ghoulron.
resisting.
If no one necessarily knows you're casting a spell, their body is
Well, I
going to
told them I was casting
reflexively try to resist it.
God damn it.
All right, Ghoulron, you don't calm down. I don't see a roll from Antaeus.
Oh, it should have came up as a private roll.
Oh, okay. You calm down.
Oh, wonderful. I feel much calmer now.
Excellent. Now.
So Ghoulron was the only one not affected by the calm emotions.
I just get more.
Priceless.
When we meet Maha, we will discuss all of this in detail and no lying.
Some guy behind you guys also sighs when this happens.
God damn it! Giving free comms around here.
I don't lie. I've never lied to anybody. What are you talking about?
I'm just confused by a lot of your fast talking with all of you. So I just want to make sure you are all on the up and up and what you did with Elizabeth. I saw that. I want to make sure you're all towing the line because we need to agree on what we're doing. And it sounds like we're all over the place right now. Is this?
I already debriefed with Maha, so I'm good over here.
You were supposed to wait for all of us. Now
You
you're gonna have
know
to
what?
sit and wait for us. While we
When
do
your
this.
superior asks you to sit down and debrief, you don't say no.
Oh, okay. Well, then she must know better. Then maybe you have something else to do while she debriefs us. Let us finish our drinks, and I don't know if we're meeting her.
For the record, I'd rather those just come out in verbal than in text.
Okay. Well,
Let's
so
finish our drinks and meals and go do our debrief.
Brianna is passing one of her pins. She keeps like pins in a journal on her, and she's passing one over to Antaeus because she was like, "Here, you need this to mark up his palm, right? To show him like how you know that his fortunes are going to be better."
Well, while we're passing something, here, have another pancake.
I am content with palm readings. Shashad has given me all the knowledge I require about this.
Well, if you do come across good fortune today, please let me know for scientific purposes if that happens, because I would like to know how accurate that is.
I stopped for a
Sure.
second on trying to pass the pancake and think about what the dwarf said, and instead start breaking it into small bits. On the plate. Here, you can save some for later.
All right. Is there anything else of substance that the party wants to discuss?
Well, I wasn't sure if Goron would be like sharing what he learned about the Fey Madness, or
Oh, yeah, you asked about my sermon. Yeah, like if you brought it up again, I would just tell you, like, oh, yes, I encountered. I'll just do this in character. Yes, on my downtime, I went to the Theurgy, and the priest there let me know that there were a bunch of people afraid of something called Fey Madness, some nonsense of children's stories. I believe it came from the children we rescued, where they saw those horrors, and they... Anyway, you know how it works. A peasant says one thing, and all of a sudden it's all across the town. So I held a sermon and reassured the people that there's no such thing, and I'll bring this up to Maha in case there's any warranting of this. We did see that one person that was affected by some affliction, but there's no need for mass panic, and I have no idea if these are even related. So I just gave a sermon about Shashot's goodness and how we should be sharing of this knowledge and not coveting fake news, as it were.
I do believe that you are correct and we should not be spreading this around, but calling it false information is quite hasty, I would say.
I misspoke. Unproven information. There's no need to cause mass hysteria when something isn't even proven.
Steve, is Fey Madness proven, or... Because I know the gremlins are not technically
No,
proven.
the whole so Fey Madness is a real condition. But it is a condition that would require you to be around, like, be in a Fey environment for a long period of time, and then to be brought out of that environment. And it's not something that's commonly known about. Like, you would have to have literally been a victim of Fey Madness, or have encountered someone who has been a victim of Fey Madness, or specifically researched it to know about Fey Madness.
I do actually remember you telling me about this.
It's
check last time.
It's like, it's like one of those diseases that if you ever watch House, you're like, is that a real disease, or do they just make that up for House?
Yeah. Well, I do agree that we should probably not be spreading that information around and causing more panic, but especially given that there could be a lot of misinformation around Fey Madness.
I agree. That's why I gave my sermon, instructing the people they should share their information, but they shouldn't be panicked when they don't even know the truth of the matter. And
if you guys... Go ahead.
I did promise the priest that I would bring the ministry made aware of this issue amongst the people and see if we're required to do anything.
If you guys want to better inform people, I've heard of a company called AstraZeneca. They'll run a bunch of ads that will help inform people all about your disease and help clarify things and what medications people should take related to it.
Ask your doctor
if Fey Madness is right for you. Wait, what?
If only there were like a web of information that we could access of about doctors and all of their knowledge.
I mean, technically there is. It's just a thing accessible only by the wealthy.
Ah, rats.
Quick question. So, in like all of the stuff that like I went through, did like anyone ever tell me they think I have like madness or specifically Fey Madness or anything? Like, is there?
No, your family went out of their way to cover up anything that linked it all to you potentially having madness. Like anytime a doctor would say something about it, they would go out and they would pay some other anytime a cleric or someone of the clergy would say you might have it, or anyone that is trained in medicine would say something about it, like they would go out of their way to find somebody else who would discredit that person, and sort of wipe away any signs that, or any
But when they were
evidence.
trying to say something, what were they trying to say they thought I had?
They would not have said it with you present.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So Brianna is sort of chewing on a piece of bacon, and she's being thoughtful a little bit, and she's like, I wonder if any of those children that were spreading that information, I wonder if any of them know Nico's daughter.
When we bring this issue up to the ministry, we'll see what they want us to pursue. We shouldn't just be creating these connections without ministry approval.
I'm just concerned, maybe I mean, I know that you're not Nico's favorite person, but
I think we're on good terms now.
I'm wondering if maybe, your blessings might help the little girl.
That is... do we even know what ails her?
Just that she talks to people that are not imaginary friends, but are also not there. And the goblin kids at school make fun of her for it.
Has
I'm not
anyone seen her using her dolls? Because when I was there, because she did put on like a little doll show, right?
Not while you were there.
Oh, I was told about it, I believe.
She
right?
put that on for Brianna.
Okay, I thought somebody had mentioned it before.
Ego had asked about, haven't you ever seen her play with her dolls?
Did you notice anything unusual about when she was using her dolls, when she was playing with them? Like in the motions, perhaps, that they were moving?
It's hard to say how much is a child's imagination and how much is not, but she did say the doll that I got her could fly, but she was making it fly,
Okay, I was just wondering because of the things that Ego had said about her and the fact that he was so eager to get her the money for her afflictions. It's all very confusing.
It is.
I do not think I have any means of curing her if it's some specific illness, but we can mention this to the ministry as well and see if they have anything to help her.
Oh, I don't know how useful it'll be, but would it be like a curse or a disease, Steve?
Madness or Fey Madness?
Fey Madness.
Neither.
Okay.
Fey Madness is a condition your mind is afflicted by. When you have encountered too much of something that isn't real, and your brain can't comprehend anymore properly the differences between, like, reality and magic. People have exhibited this as well in other circumstances, where, for example, if somebody is being controlled by an enchantress for too long a period of time, they come out of it like not knowing the difference between what is real and what is not. Sort of like a Stockholm Syndrome style effect. But like because their mind has been so subjected to like false thought, they cannot discern any further what the real stuff was that they felt and what the fake stuff was that they felt.
Would regular madness be considered either one of those then?
Regular madness is not by any spell definitions declared to be any of those things either. When you get into conditions that are purely psychological, there are no spells that will recover you from those conditions.
Okay, I was just curious because of the way that one of these skills is worded, the faith healing. So, okay. Yeah.
Well, certainly, I'm sure we need to talk with Maha. Who knows? Maybe the library has something on all of this.
Did she say specifically that we need to... I know that we should contact her now, but that we need to keep in touch with her frequently? Because she hasn't spoken much to me.
Maha?
Yes.
We are set to debrief with her, but apparently Elizabeth got a first hand at it, but
as
all of us are supposed to
debrief. Of the
debrief.
leader.
She probably has another task for her in mind while we are debriefing or something.
I just was curious because I've met her once, right?
You've met Maha, once.
Well, I'm looking at what happened
you've
before I
met
joined
Maha
them.
numerous times before this, but Maha, you've only had Maha assigned to you recently.
Okay, but like, yeah, I've only talked to her once since I've been joined with them,
Correct. You used to work evening shift, and you kind of got moved over to this more day shift sort of work.
Okay, I was just curious because she seems to be very hands off with this, and I'm not sure if it's was my previous boss very hands off with
the night boss is way more hands off. The night trainer is much more hands off.
Call me if there's an emergency kind of thing.
Yes, I'll be in my office. If you guys need anything, you guys know where I am. Make sure all the paperwork gets handled, and see you later.
Gotcha. Yeah, my previous shift, the manager or my handler was very hands off, but Maha seems to be less so, but still hands off. I didn't know if we needed to contact her every time we made any kind of discovery, or if it was more of a periodical thing.
I'm not sure on the particulars, but we definitely need to have a debrief with her. This is standard ministry regulation.
Of course, we should debrief her after all the recent events. I just didn't know how frequent it was supposed to be.
Yeah, you guys are actually sort of slated for right about now to have the debrief. Like, shortly after this, you'll go in, give her kind of a heads up on things. You guys would have gotten probably the message right before Brianna would have sent out her message, so this would have been good timing.
Okay.
So yeah, if there's anything else you guys want to discuss at the table, let me know. But you guys can head over to the ministry to meet with Maha.
All right. I'll let everybody know if they would like to test any of these new abilities that I have. That I'd be more than willing to let them know what I'm trying and try that with them. It's also experimental, but it might help.
Abilities.
I've been doing some research into the occult as well, because I think, especially recently, that it might be helpful given the current circumstances and information that we've come across, especially interrogating that goblin and the things that happened with Elizabeth during then.
Okay, so for the record for the party, the occult stuff are largely ideas that surround the concept of non-reality affecting things. Not fake things, but things which affect the world that cannot be seen. They're largely considered concepts. Occult ideas are things that are like what we would call like scientific theory that is completely unprovable by any physical means that we have. These are like larger abstract concepts about the way the world works on a sort of meta level. Think of this as, for the sake of this campaign world and the way that things work, this is kind of in a barrier somewhere between where the theoretical fourth wall and the player exist.
What abilities are you talking about, Antaeus? We're about to have a debrief. What nonsense are you spouting?
Like the palm reading that I just bestowed upon you. I just wanted to test and see how that works, since I haven't had an ability to on anybody alive at the moment.
Anybody alive?
I mean, it doesn't work as well with dead people. Telling their fortune is
are you implying
typically the
tried
same.
This on dead people, Antaeus?
Not saying that. No, I wouldn't have killed anybody to do anything like that. That's preposterous. I'm just saying that, like, typically dead people would have the same future ahead of them, unless, of course, they're followers of Delamria. But that's not the point here.
This is all very confusing.
At about that point, you'll reach Maha's door.
I don't want you to read my poem anymore, please. Thank you.
Okay.
And the four of you are invited in.
Hey, Maha.
Hello. It is good to see all of you are doing what I assume is better.
Yes, much better.
You and I still have not set a time. If you feel like perhaps once everybody's leaved, we could discuss things a little more. and get something lined up.
Yeah.
Now, let's get on to business. So, what happened?
Well, as you know of our previous dealings, I ensured that these group of miscreants did not break any laws in entering that building unlawfully. Brianna was ensnared by some sort of illegal trap device at the front porch of this building.
We're a little too far forward. How did you even get to this point? What led you down a road to look after Ego?
Yes.
For a debriefing, we need the details in whole.
Well,
sure.
you see, when we met Ego, he was being very, what's the word, combative? Because we were interviewing him. He was the one, it was his company that had signed off on the security of Assurance. And so we wanted to talk to him and see what his perspective was. And seemingly, we were just not even thinking that he had anything to do with it, but he was very, very abrupt and combative. And he basically wouldn't talk to us. He made us talk to his underling, Sterling. And so, it was just his behavior made us believe that perhaps, he was hiding something or there was more to the story. And so we were staking out his business to see, what he was doing with his time. We ended up following him to the warehouse. And, I tried knocking on the door to talk to him. He didn't answer. There was no answer on the door. And I had some flour in my bag. I think I was maybe I was going to make biscuits or something. I don't remember, but there was a tear in
Brianna, we spoke about this. There's no line. We were encountering an invisible foe. I instructed her to purchase the flour in advance, and she was using it to track the suspect to his location. Upon her spreading the flour, she triggered this illegal trap, and that Antaeus provided us with the legal knowledge and wherewithal that we now had legal precedent to enter this place to demand an explanation, as there's no signage of this trap.
And it was at this point when Elizabeth made it known that we were going to enter the premises.
Now, how did you track him there? Would he just let you follow him?
No, I believe we came...
Apparently my debriefing was better.
Quite, Elizabeth. There was... Ego had used invisibility, but as all of us know, there are ways to track people through such a trivial spell. We had such precautions in place, such as water and the flour. He almost got away, but he had bumped into, I believe it was Antaeus or Elizabeth, and after he bumped into them, we were able to track them more to this house. That's how we got there.
It was a house, not a business?
Was it
a business establishment building?
It was a very non-assuming building. It was
a very plain building with 0 windows and a very thick door that was supposed to look extra plain for some reason.
And many traps that could have been detrimental to any passerbys that would have been walking on his porch or
one trap on the outside that was dangerous to passerbyers. There were several traps within that were not dangerous to passerbyers, but to us, trying to ascertain the cause of the first illegal trap.
And what occurred when you confronted Ego about these things?
I gave them the choice: surrender or be attacked to submission. They chose to fight their way out. We did not attack recklessly. I gave them...
Actually, they also gave us a choice. They wanted us to help them with their heist, which of course we declined.
Yes, of course.
But they basically admitted to all of it. Apparently, he was planning on doing this heist as part of some sort of revenge plot.
Actually, Sterling didn't say much during that encounter, did he, Steve? He just kind of stood there.
Not a lot, no.
Actually, for technicality purposes, it was mostly Ego that had admitted to things. Sterling didn't say much, but stood there menacingly, or at least he thought that he was menacingly standing there.
Antaeus, you're too kind. He attacked with Ego. He was an accomplice.
I just thought it would be important for the details that he was not very verbal in the confrontation. So if
he attempted to murder us, the fool deserves what's coming to him.
They were there making deals, of course, but he didn't directly admit out loud, like Ego had, that he was a part of it.
A ministry member does not deal in absolutes, as they did.
Yes, no, he is clearly guilty. I just didn't want it to be on the record that we had admitted that he had admitted something that he did not.
Doesn't matter what he admitted to, he attacked us.
It could be a legal incident, and I don't want him being. I don't want any issues with that if he were to be caught.
I didn't really mean to imply Sterling said anything.
No,
I'm mostly dealing with.
You guys are awfully worried about proving the innocence of a man who tried to kill us. That's besides the point.
Well,
also,
innocent. I never said that either.
If somebody were arrested and there was false pretenses, they would be let go, and I don't want anything like that happening if he were to be arrested.
At the minimum, he attacked us and was agreeing with Ego in his assertions when he would offer to kill us. Anyways, afterward,
was very apparent that he was in league with Ego because, as you said, he joined in with the attack.
After the fight ensued, Antaeus nearly lost his life, but luckily to my healing magics, he lives. And
I killed him too, bro.
All right, Brianna, this wasn't a competition. We all helped equally. Wait, actually, he got away, didn't he?
Sterling
got away, yeah.
I believe you chased him out of the room, correct?
Yep.
I tried to, but I lost him, and
because he was able to navigate the traps with relative ease, and Gulran is not.
I am not very good at navigating large pits. But yes, he was out of my reach, but we alerted the knights that came shortly afterwards of his escape. But I don't think they were able to close off the city in time. He's probably long gone.
I would be very certain of that.
And I just wanted to note that the knights did recover several items in the room. We did not take anything, as I'm assured by our party. The knights had a claim over it all, apparently. I'm not familiar with the rules of conduct. I would not assume knights would lie to us, so the knights had territory over it.
Now, why did you even have to bring that up, Gulran?
Why would I bring up details of our night?
It does seem a little suspicious, if you don't mind me saying. We had a case recently wrap itself up. The case of Nico Van Hoddem. His items were apparently returned to him.
Yes, the knights must have recovered his items in that room.
The knights did not recover his items. The money, he claimed that the money he must have misplaced it or something, but he says he was able to find it in his storage space.
Okay, so out of character, Gulran's out of conflict here because this is opposite of what his party has told him, so I'm not sure what he would do here.
I mean, if he says he misplaced it, then that's obviously what happened.
The money had been returned to him, and the money had
maybe
been
it was the neighborhood.
I think at this knowledge, Gulran immediately looks at Brianna and Antaeus, just like with what does this look?
I need to go deal with my kid for a second.
Okay.
So Brianna just kind of shrugs, and she's like, I mean, if he says he misplaced it, who are we to say otherwise? I mean, for all we know, maybe it was a neighborhood kid or something, and he just doesn't want to get them in trouble.
We do experience a lot of that. All right, well...
I'm sorry, this is not truthful. Antaeus, you said he told you the knights returned his objects to him?
I said that I went to check on him and that he had the money.
Okay, maybe I misheard them.
Yes, I went to check on him to see if everything was all right. Especially given the information about his daughter.
Maha, I also advised them not to make visits to subjects in a case prior to our debriefing. I'm not sure if this is policy or not, but
it is It is questionable, but we don't have anything that directly has any effect, and since the case wrapped itself up, it really is irrelevant to the circumstance that they visited with him. If this were still a pending investigation and more problems had occurred, we might have different grounds and need to change things. But overall, this seems fine.
Brianna will speak up at this point, and she'd say, "It's just that with what Ego said, he said that the little girl was sick. I guess Ego was the one that installed his trap door as well, and so I wanted to bring her a little doll."
Listen. Your reasons are not necessary. That's not part of this investigation. And for some reason, I feel like the less I know, the less it's going to be a problem for all of you. I think it's important to understand here that at this point, the four of you have proven that you have a good enough comprehension of how things work, that you have a good and thorough understanding of your abilities and how to utilize them. It is as of this point that we are willing to issue you your official work certificates. You may continue to stay with the ministry if that is your choice. If you wish not to, then we wish you good luck in whatever your work endeavors are. But let me assure you that based on what I've seen from the four of you, it would be of great help to us to have the four of you here on our staff helping us deal with bigger issues.
Speaking of bigger issues, if we're done with our debrief, I have some other information to share with you.
Go ahead.
During our little downtime, my time at the church had revealed that many people are in mass panic over what they were calling Fey madness.
We've had a few reports of this ourselves. It sounds like the kids you returned are spinning up some stories. After what we know from last time, we know that they're not entirely fictional. We also know that we can't exactly have people running around telling inaccurate versions of things and making up trouble.
Yes, I gave a sermon at the church to calm the emotions of the public in this matter, but I wanted to make sure if there was some area that we needed to cover off so that I didn't just calm everyone to let something fester and go unnoticed.
Well, let me be clear about something and upfront with you. I'm not sure if you're all continuing to plan to, or if you're all still intending to do work for us. I know that, Elizabeth, it looks like you're being accepted into the Knights, that it is a great honor, and that you will be working beside the ministry in one form or another.
Yes.
If your companions wish to stick with the ministry, the four of you will remain a unit together. This will give you the ability to help them when they need certain aspects of authority that they might not otherwise have. This would allow us to have a sort of sample of a proof of concept that we've been looking for. We've had a problem for some time with knights and ministry members being at opposite ends of the same interests. This has meant a lot of infighting, a lot of people wanting to solve cases that they don't really have any need to be working in, and vice versa. If you are all willing to stick together, I think you all are cohesive enough. I think there's some room here left that you guys need to solve your own problems. But I think overall, you've managed to deal with some pretty large issues. And everything you've done in terms of your paperwork and in terms of your structure has overall been what we would consider acceptably above board. So we have something much bigger in mind that does pertain to what we're discussing right now. But before we can speak of it any further, I need to know for certain that all 4 of you are going to stick together. And if so, I'm going to need you to fill out a few forms, and I'm going to need you to wait a few days before I can give you more information on this. It is important that Elizabeth be given her title, and it is important that the 3 of you become officially licensed in order for us to progress to the next phase of things. But I will tell you that what I can tell you is that the wizard we brought in here has not recovered. He has gotten much worse. I cannot explain more than that until you make the decision. And she takes 3 pieces of paper and turns them around and slides them towards Brianna, Gulran, and Antaeus, and says, if you wish to go further, it will be important you read these.
I rolled a 5 on that. Fantastic.
With a 15, I mean, it's enough to know this is an employment contract. You are basically going to agree to work as employees, as official employees in the ministry, with all the rights that entails.
Are there any, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, so Brianna says, well, to be honest, I've taken an interest in some of the issues that I've seen since I've been here, so I will accept, and she'll sign.
I'll kind of, as I'm going through the parts of it, I'll kind of explain it, what I know of it in layman's terms to make sure that everybody understands what they're signing. Are there any specific restrictions or any kind of things that are outside of the normal law or anything of that nature?
No, you're given certain permissions beyond the normal scope of the law.
Okay.
But they are still largely intermingled, like any other position of authority like this would be.
So there's nothing that explicitly says that we have to do anything specific in certain situations outside of what we've already been doing. Okay. If that's the case, then I'll look it over a second time to make sure, and then sign it.
Yep. All right, John. Last chance to change your character if you want.
Maha. I would like to confirm before I sign this. I am a full-fledged cleric now, is what you're saying.
Yes, you may officially join the clergy, and may do with that what you will.
The work of a cleric far exceeds the work of the ministry, but what you've brought up is an affront to Shashat. The knights are not freely sharing information with the ministry. If you can make this part of my mandate to resolve this, I believe I can stay on board, and I feel like Shashat would want me to fix this problem. That
is why we are specifically grouping the 4 of you together.
Also, I did have a quick question as far as the cases that we would be assigned. Would they be ours and ours alone, or would we be working with other groups?
They would largely be yours and yours alone, unless there are some issues with people that do attempt to pull rank. I will do what I can to fight with them, as I prefer to keep people on a case that they are working on themselves. But I, of course, am not... Well, I should make one more thing clear. You are signing these contracts under me, and I am signing them in acceptance that you are all cleared to do what you're about to do. However, I will no longer be your commanding officer. I am in charge of making sure that new people are trained effectively and are able to go out into the world and do the jobs they desire, using magic safely, effectively, and understanding that we are here making sure that they do not use it unlawfully, and if they do, they will be brought to justice. But my job is not to assign cases unless they happen to fall on my desk to people.
Understood.
You will be assigned someone new, and they will do what they can to make sure that all is handled properly.
I appreciate it. I just wanted to ensure that we don't have any issues. Like, if I remember any of the specific cases, like the larger cases, I'll mention.
Yeah, she said she'll reaffirm. I cannot promise you that that will not happen, but my interest is in this, and I'm sure your officers will be as well.
I understand, and I appreciate your willingness to do your best in that situation.
Now, Elizabeth, I'm sure now you can understand why I didn't feel as uncomfortable extending that invitation to you.
Makes much more sense now.
So, Gulram, what will it be?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure. Will I be given some sort of authority to pursue that goal? The knights and the ministry, I will be given some sort of leeway into looking into this matter?
This matter will be worked on as part of what you will be doing with the ministry, yes.
All right, then I agree, and I'll sign the contract.
Okay. You will have a few days if you wish to cancel things to come back here and have your signature removed from these documents. Otherwise, 60 hours from now, these contracts will be officially accepted, and you will officially be members of the ministry. You will not need to come in the next day, as that will be Elizabeth's coronation. I would hope
Coronation? She's becoming a queen?
No. Coronations are not simply for the...
It's an old dwarven joke.
Sorry, I didn't know if you were just not familiar with customs around here.
A little bit of both, actually.
There are a lot of people that you'll get to meet there. A lot of the well-known people here will be in attendance. These are usually a very big function, and a lot of the people you'll want to get to know will be there, including your new commander.
And do you have any information on who our new commander will be?
That will not be disclosed to you until you've exceeded the 60 hours.
Understood.
If there are no further questions, you are all dismissed, and I look forward to seeing what great things you'll do in the future.
At this point, Brianna will step forward and extend her hand to shake Maha's hand and say, it's been a pleasure working with you. I know we're still working together, but, you were a good boss, too.
She will very firmly shake your hand back.
Assuming this is customary, I will attempt to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
I will ask her if she wishes to receive a blessing from Shashat, and I'll cast Bless. If she doesn't want it, I'll just informally say a prayer.
She's fine with it.
Alright. So yeah, as I cast Bless, I shake her hand and I say, Shashat, appreciate I feel that the work that you're guiding me on is helping my goals fulfill Shashat's wishes.
I hope it does ultimately help fulfill them as well. All right. And that is where we will wrap up the session for tonight. Everybody can take 500 XP for roleplay and recap. And that is where I will say goodnight to all of you watching. Take care.
Good night.